somebody from the sky. I heard a voice inside my head, the desert wind so dry. Very voice that always believed said a lot of troubles coming. Ah, gotta tune this piece of shit. Said a lot of troubles coming. So what was it? Said a lot of troubles coming. It don't have to come to you. I'm telling you so you can tell the rest what you went through. You're good, upstanding man, a credit to the flock. But if you don't face straight ahead, you might not take the shot. Don't you look around you. Don't look after you. It's not your business how it's done. You're lucky to be through. Because she looked behind. The wife of love. I guess the lesson is, you just You gotta leave the life of sin and you can't look back. That means you're not really ready to leave. I don't think God really smote them, smited them, smeet, smitten. Oh, I got sweat in my eyes. That shit stings. Oh, hey, there's people here. What's up, Big Frog? Nice, man, nice. And Tommy Rogers was good, buddy. I was just playing a Jerry Garcia song there. That was in the Old Testament there. Oh, shit. Oh, yeah. Well, I left my home in Norfolk, Virginia, California on my mind. I straddled that Greyhound and rode the past valley on the North Carolina. Play it. It's like, well, I left my home in Norfolk, Virginia, California on my mind. I straddled that Greyhound and rode the past valley on the North Carolina. Stopped in the sun by a place where we never was a really place. 90 miles out of Atlanta by sundown, across Georgia State. Had a retro turned into a struggle halfway across Alabama. The hamburg town left us all down Birmingham. Straight away Bobby and her train, digging right across Mississippi came. It was on that midnight flight out of Birmingham, smoking into New Orleans. Somebody help me get out of Louisiana, well I gotta get to Houston now. People better give me belly, won't let the poor boy down. Somebody she bought me a 6 luggage in my hand. I woke up out of Kentucky on head to the promised land. Chuck Berry song. I like my Chuck Brown, but I don't like my Chuck Berry. No, sir. No, sir. Is that on? Yeah. I was watching Martin Leach earlier. I mean, he's kind of a goofball. I realized I was just like listening to the rants of a complete stoner, like halfway through the show. I'm just like, oh my god, what am I doing? I mean, I like the guy. I think he's awesome. But like, he starts off the show by saying like, what physics. He's talking about the physics of today. Wants you to think that like when you're touching something, nothing's really touching anything because of all these excuses. But by the end of his rant, he was saying, "Oh, we live in a hologram." And so I'm like, oh, so we're back to nothing touching anything again. The irony. Nobody listens to me, though. Nobody wants to hear my ironic observations. Oh, maybe there's one person that wants to hear it. Put a 1 in the chat if you want to hear my ironic observation of the day. It's nothing special. I was just watching Martin Lika, the Flat Earth British guy. He was doing a show today. I forget what it was about, what the title was, but something about energy. I don't know what it was. I forget. But he was talking about, first he was talking about physics of today wants you to think that, oh, it looks like I already lost my one audience member. Well, never mind. I already said it. You can rewind. Just rewind if you want to hear it. He believes we're living in a hologram, though, basically. And I don't think we are. And I think it's like a hologram of what, you know? Like, I mean, what the fuck is the point? I mean, it's an awfully physical hologram. I mean, what? I mean, we know what a hologram is. A hologram has a specific definition, you know? It's like, we have to have some kind of basis of reality from which to work. You have to say life is a hologram, dude. Get out of here, dude. Just fucking stoner. What the fuck are you talking about, man? This is the rants of a stoner. That's all I'm saying. And I can dig it, you know, but I just hope he sees the flaw in his reasoning. It's kind of like smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors. Open up your eyes and ears and look and listen here. It's not how it sounds or appears to be at all. You hit the wall and when you find that you've had your mind done been scrambled by the world that wants you to believe a bunch of things that you can't ever verify yourself or anyone else for that matter. You got your mind over matter, there's matters your mind has to wrap around. Understand the sound reasoning is something that you can't really throw away. The bare necessities, truth that you can't argue, and everybody knows there has to be some kind of fucking framework we all work within that makes sense. You can use your application, you know that it's reliable, cause it works every time. It's just the way it goes, and if someone shows you otherwise, it's lies. Unless it isn't, then it's not the trickery you need to see to believe that it is real. You get left in left field because you just forgot how to feel. You got so many things that you never really felt. They just get swept under the carpet because you've done been consumed by all the things that you consume. It's ironic. It's smoke and mirrors, open up your eyes and ears and look and listen here. It's not how it sounds or appears to be at all. You hit the wall, trying to understand the basics but any of it there's any truth or relevance at all. You hit the wall, it's a hard call, it's a far fall. If you're gonna play hardball with the fall guy like me, you see, when you fall alone and land where you fell right there, and you have to get back up and shake it off. Realize you done had your mind scrambled. You could ramble on for hours trying to explain the way they tweaked your brain. It's insane. It's all a game. It's smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors. Open up your eyes and ears and look and listen here. It's not how it sounds or appears to be at all. In fact, this facade is at odds with God and reality itself. Who would have figured seeing they try to tell you something true every once in a while? Pathological liars are just always gonna be the same. It's a game to keep their control, but anyone knows that a control freak is always out of control. It's just an ironic things that really catch my attention. Don't forget to mention the fact that we are run by hypocritical whack job nutcases that will do anything to achieve what they believe to be something no one else deserves. They usurp every bit of power that you give them, and they'll ask for more. We're always at war with these evil demons who just seem to be so self-consumed. There's something crawling on my arm. Might be one of those Google mosquitoes they released into the environment, just because they want to mess with everything under the sun. We can try to do some scientific experiments with the blood-sucking insects and see what we can achieve. What could go wrong? Smoke and mirrors, open up your eyes and ears and look and listen here. It's not how it sounds or appears to be at all. You hit the wall. Oh, I'm gonna kill this fly. He's not gonna stop bothering me. Jeremy Bird, what's up, brother? I'm thirsty. Do you guys know people that believe in Artemis, that think it's real? That's funny. Sometimes I like to do like a little litmus test or just reality check or lack thereof, whatever you want to call it. And I'll watch a Dave McKeegan video, and because he's got such an, because he's the guy that I can handle. You know, like the other guys that do anti-flat earth stuff, they're so snide and they're just so rude. You know, they're trying to trigger you. You know what I mean? And they just, you know, throw around insults and just try to make it seem so rough. You know, but Dave McKeegan, he's just a little more matter of fact. You know, and like. But every one of his videos, I mean, you're gonna, if you look closely at what's going on there, he's gonna try to tell a story that seems so reasonable, but there's always a part of his story where he's casually just accepting everything at face value, things that he can't verify himself. He'll verify it up to a certain point, you know, and be like, well, this is the only explanation that would make any sense. It's got to be real. You know, and he just tries to walk you into it just thinking, oh, this has already been verified, every little bit of it, you know. But, like, you know why I mentioned it. Because it's fake, you know. That's why I mentioned it. It's fucking fake. Everything NASA does is fake. It's so obvious, dude. Why can't people see the mistakes? I mean, they're not even mistakes. They seem so, like, deliberate almost half the time. Oh, we'll just have something, like, appear in the air and you can start playing with it. What the fuck? So you're doing computer tricks up there? That's kind of fucked up, you know? That's like official NASA footage. Dude, that's not gonna work, dude. That ruins their whole fucking thing, right? I mean, am I wrong? The little thing appears in the air. She's playing with it. Like, what? Dude, you can't do that. You just ruined your whole get down. So you're doing computer editing up there on your ISS videos? That's kind of fucked up, you know? And now we're supposed to believe everything is real still? I mean, that's not a mistake, dude. They did that on purpose. I mean, is it just like they have to do it live for some reason, so they make mistakes and there's nothing they can do about it? I don't know. It just seems so weird. Why would they make such blatant fucking... Oh yeah, things can't just appear in the air, you know, even when you're in NASA and you're on the space station, it's still not the reality that we've come to know, where things could just appear in midair and you start playing with it. No, that's not the way reality works. I don't know why you try to show us that and think we believe anything else that you do after that. I don't care how many Artemis missions you show us, you done fucked up just one time. Even if that was the only time, then everything else is in question. Why are you using computer editing in your videos? Making things appear. You know, those stuffed animals that appear in midair. That's not how reality works. Hello? Hasn't anybody noticed that? I mean, other than the people that are being called crazy. You know, isn't that a little bit weird? I think it's kind of weird. But the more money you shovel at NASA, the more rinky-dink they get. It almost appears to be low budget. But $80 million a day, you think it'd be enough to pay for a more believable presentation of their International Space Station. Let's do some spacewalks. I think they're in a swimming pool on Earth, 'cause I can see those bubbles in space. Bubbles in space. There shouldn't be bubbles in that place. They're doing that science of deception. Oh, for shame. You got a lot of hairspray. You really gotta use a lot of hairspray if you wanna make your hair look that way. Like you're in a low G environment. Ooh, I think it's just an ugly hairdo. I think it's just an ugly hairdo. Yes, I do. $80 million a day. You think you have more to say for yourself, but we really don't get anything worth mentioning from these space clowns. And the more money you shovel at NASA, the more rinky-dink they get. It almost appears to be a low budget. $80 million a day. The more money you shovel at NASA, the more bullshit they're gonna shovel back. It's all fucking act. You can see the blatant mistakes they made. People just want to believe in space. It's just too much to think that space could be fake. How could they fake all that stuff? It's just too much detail and there's so much realities. It's just real. We saw it on TV. No, but people were there. They saw it. You know, they saw them get in it. They saw it blast off. They didn't go out of it. even though we've seen videos that show they have a little emergency escape hatch if they want to get out all of a sudden, they can just bail out. They made it look like they could just do it like without anybody seeing them in the video. They go into the rocket and they slide down the slide, and it's like a big, like, so stupid. It's not really a rocket, it's a slide. See, they just slide down here in this nice little room where they can escape, where they can be safe from the blast if the rocket's about to explode. So you have a little slide going out of your rocket. That doesn't make any sense, dude. Why do they say such dumb shit? It just doesn't. You don't have a slide going out of a rocket. I mean, that kind of shit. I'm just like, dude, is this like a Saturday Night Live skit or something? I mean, it's so poorly thought through. I mean, what in the fuck is going on, dude? Who's TEW? I'm trying to think what that stands for. I'm sorry, man, I can't remember that. I'm sure it'll come to me once you say. Who's TEW? These flies really like me because I was all sweaty and then they go. There's flies on me. True Earth Whisperer. Oh, cool. So if I go to your channel, I could probably do that right now. Or no, it wants me to put you in timeout. No, I can't. He's my moderator. What do you mean put him in timeout? Get out of here with that. YouTube trying to put weird thoughts in my head. Yeah, so it's all fake and gay. It's too bad Candace Owens owns that term now. I thought like Owen Benjamin was the one who started saying that. Maybe he copied someone else. That's kind of what he does. Did you watch Martin Lika today when he was doing his show? He's such a goofball. I was capping on him a minute ago, but I don't think anybody was in here listening to me. All in good fun. True Earth Whisperer. I don't know if I've been to that channel. Sounds cool though. They're like flat earthers. Do they do live streams? I don't think I'm even subbed to that channel. If you put a link in the chat to the channel, I'll leave a comment in one of your videos though too. So, how long have they been on the? I don't know why nobody ever told me about them. It sounds familiar. Maybe I've seen them in chats or something. TEW. know that I'm gonna be there, and I'm doing alright, yeah. Doing alright, I'm doing alright, doing alright, doing alright, doing alright. Reminded me of something else. Thanks, bro. I don't know if I can sub right now. Yeah. Am I still going? Yeah, I subbed. Cool. Just been running against the grain since the day I came along. That's my name. I'm Bas Ackwards. I've always been Bas Ackwards ever since the day I came along. That's my song. I've never wanted to like partake in the like trendy bullshit. It's always seemed totally cheesy to me, and I've always been like, why does everybody like this one thing? It just seems like mind control at work. I mean, not about everything. I mean, there's certain things that you just have to like, the Grateful Dead. I'm just kidding. I've been running against the grain, running against the grain. That's my name, that's the way I came. Running against the grain since the day I came along. I've been running against the grain to my dying day. That's the way I came. I claim the grain is running the wrong way. While I'm running against the grain. Running against the grain. Yeah. But when you run against the grain, it causes friction. All that friction starts to burn. When it burns, you know what's gonna happen. That's when this place is going up in flames. At the end of the game, the end of everything, end of the game, I'll still be running against the grain. That's my name, that's my claim. I claim the grain is running the wrong way. Running against the grain, cooking against the flame, pushing against the frame, cutting loose against the restraint, going crazy against the tame. I'm swimming against the drain. I'm running against the grain since the day I came. I'm running against the grain till my dying day. That's the way I came, and that's my name. Running against the grain. Running against the grain. That's my name, that's the way I came. Running against the grain since the dying day. When you run against the grain, it causes friction, and you know that friction, it starts to burn. When it burns, you know what's gonna happen. That's when this place is going up in flames. At the end of the game, the end of everything, I'll still be running against the grain. I'll be cutting loose against the restraint, cooking against the flame, swimming against the drain, watching it all go down the drain, all down the drain. There's all this man-made mainstream's made me mad and unhappy. How could that be? You might ask me. Because it's crappy and this crappy river rolls down this crappy hill, down to the crappy bay where the crap will stay. And people play in crappiness. I can't find no happiness in this crappy river. Someone slapped me, I almost got trapped back in this crappy mess. I guess I want to dip my toes in it, but then I notice I'm knee deep in this crappy creek, drifting further out of reach, down to the crappy beach, the crappy bay where the crap will stay, and fools will play in the cesspools of this nasty mainstream that's so crappy. This man-made mainstream's made me mad and unhappy. How could that be? You might ask me. I tell you 'cause it's crappy. That song's called Shit Creek. The greater good was neither good nor great. All they had was bad and a bigger hate. What they create, some people will call their fate. So I guess for them it's way too late to try to turn back the time, to try to turn back the tidal wave that is heading our way, to try to turn back the tidal wave that is heading our way. The things I say that sound insane someday will come to pass. And that day you'll hear them laughing away, but we will see who's laughing last. Although I know that he laughs last, he will be laughing alone. Although I know that he who laughs last, he will be laughing alone. I will be laughing alone. Carefully we will see, we must plant the seed. Hopefully someday they will see. Carefully we will see, we must plant the seed. Hopefully someday they will see. The greater good was neither good nor great. All they had was bad and a bigger hate. I had the worst cotton mouth, man. It's annoying. It's swallowing my tongue. Alver Billy, what's up, my friend? Yo, Papa was a rolling snowball. Wherever he laid, flat was his home. He rolled away one cold day, you know. Out there rolling still, down this hill, you know. The further he rolled, the bigger he got. He's gotten so big, he could not stop. Roll on, Papa. Papa was a rolling snowball. Wherever he laid, flat was his home. He rolled away one cold day. He's out there rolling still on this hill till he burst through the front door, melted into a puddle on the floor. Then Mama came in and mopped his ass up. Oh, Papa. Woo, I was snowball too, just be rolling after you. Wherever you lay flat is your home. We're winning! A bucket of hand tool. How many houses you built? Nice, Alver Billy. Can you build a cathedral in a year? You know, like those old guys in the days of the old west. You know, you know those like gun toting, gun slinging, fucking street killing, fucking card playing, gambling, fucking horse riding, train hopping, train jumping, gold mining, fucking cathedral building cowboys. You know those guys? Everybody knew it back in the day. It just lost knowledge. Rough and tumble, fucking bar brawling, card gambling, gold mining, palace building cowboys. You know what I'm talking about? Those kind of guys. Let's go build a marble palace. That'd be a good, like, techno rave song. Let's go build a marble palace. It's easy as 1, 2, 3. Just find the marble and bring it to where it's supposed to be and build a palace. It's so easy. You don't even need a truck or anything. You don't need Home Depot. Go find a spot where there's marble and just cut a bunch of it and make a palace. I mean, we've been doing it forever. I mean, it's just something that everybody knows how to do. Complete with, like, you know, engineering and architecture that's just beyond what your average Joe would really ever think to do. I mean, who started that? How did that become a thing. It's just like a given. That's just how you make a cathedral. No, I think there needs to be more storyline going on there. We need to have a little more information. I mean, because that's kind of like a lousy story. I mean, what were they doing? I mean, why did you have to put so much work into these buildings? It's fucking incredible, the attention to detail. It really makes me wonder. It's like, do these people have extra long lives? Or, I mean, because you hear this history and it doesn't jive. People were, barely getting by. It was like tough times. There's like famines and all these wars and shit too. It's like, where do people find the time to like fucking, like carve these statues and build these capitol buildings? And I mean, come on, dude. I need a better story, dude. It's not just inherent knowledge. We didn't just forget how to do that. I mean, I'm sure there's some people that know some type of masonry but I don't think so. I don't think anybody knows. I've yet to hear anybody explain how they engineered these capitol buildings. There's no blueprints, for fuck's sake. So that makes you wonder. So basically nobody can prove how it was built. Without a blueprint, you're pretty much just a dude with a fucking building. And you by no means can lay claim to having built it because you didn't prove it. Your fingerprint is not on it. Your story doesn't check out, doesn't have any support. Anybody can make up a story. If there's no witnesses or like anything like of relevance that would support your story other than just a story, then it's just a story, and and it's basically not true by default because it has not been proven, and it's just unreasonable to think that that type of information would ever get lost. I mean, because it's brilliant. It's brilliant architecture, and it's sort of glossed over in our history lessons. Oh, and then 1800s, it's just like you get the impression it's like, the 49ers and the gold miners, it's like you don't get the impression that they were building cathedrals, or these huge palaces. That's not the impression you get from these types of people that they explain, the Old West and Oregon Trail and shit. It's like, no, these people didn't build palaces, dude. That's like a whole different thing. That's not what happens. I'm sorry, man. It's a big hole in the story right there. You know what I'm saying? 3D printing. They didn't have 3D printers. I'm pretty sure they didn't. I mean, or at least not the history that we knew. I think there was history where they did have them. I think some of these fucking things that we look at, these like statues that are just certain buildings that have this perfect shit, this repeated over. It's like, I'm pretty sure they were 3D printing stuff or something along the lines of like a form of manifesting the materials that we're totally oblivious to. I mean, maybe I'm just speaking out of my ass, but like really, to build something like that, I mean, it takes a workforce, and there's people that have companies that are going to want to go down in history for having built this thing, because it's, you know what I mean? Like people take pride in that kind of shit. So that doesn't jive that there would be no information, no official documents of how it was done, and it was just kind of glossed over in our history books. I don't remember having any emphasis being put on like the sheer brilliance of the engineering and architectural, accomplishments of America, the 19th century. It's like that was never really emphasized. I don't remember hearing about that. Some of these capitol buildings, there's like 12 different types of marble on the spiral staircases, and it's like just exuberant. Like there's no just attention to detail, and just places where you would never even look. Like you have to use a zoom camera just to see all the detail, because it's just like so far up in the dome ceiling. Nobody's going to be close to it, but it's still got all this detail on it. Like, what the fuck, man? There's something wrong with this picture. They were built by giants. Yeah, exactly. 3D print, some kind of technology that we're not privy to. And it's funny, the people that hear the conversation of the old world stuff, like Karen B and these types that just don't want to hear it, and they just get all mad and start being all triggered and trying to tell you that you're triggered. It's like I feel like they've just they've drawn a line in the sand. They just think that's just too hard to believe. But why is it so hard to believe? If they believe that giants used to, Karen believes that there were giants. I've talked to her about it. And so it's like, why is it hard to believe that perhaps they left behind some buildings, and like we wrote stories to like make it sound like that we built them, Why is that so hard to believe? I guess it's not like, and it's not the type of science that she's normally, it's not really a science. It's like trying to unravel a mystery where there's something wrong with the story, You have to like sort of notice it and just be like, wait, that's not. How did they do that without even, without the means to do it? Who's lifting these fucking 20-foot, stones, when your only resource is like steam-powered trains, I don't know, man. That's too heavy. I mean, and it would just be too excessive. There's no reason why anybody would have done that. So the story doesn't even make sense logically. I mean, the Philadelphia Municipal Building has a stone. It was built in the 1800s, okay? And it's the most insane architecture. It's beautiful. There's a stone wall in that building that's like 20 plus feet thick. It's one stone at the base of it, because the amount of weight at those buildings, it's like stone masonry. I mean, the engineering is fucking, it's over the top. To be suspending all that weight in stone for that long and have it still be in perfect shape. I mean, those people knew what the fuck they were doing, if they were even people. And it's like, how are you getting a 20-foot thick stone to be set for a building like that when you don't even have a truck, or like when you haven't even invented a diesel engine yet, and and what's the need to build to that extent? I mean, what was going on back then? I mean, we're just supposed to accept a story that just sounds all like glorious or something, but there's no, when you try to look at the details, like, okay, where did they learn all this? I mean, this is like, how did they get so good at it? How come it's all uniform all across the whole world? How did they all share their ideas so readily, and like sourcing of materials? I mean, it's just wild. Like, it would take a long time. I mean, how long do you think it would take just from the ground up, just with the knowledge we have, like to like before you're like mass producing iron I-beams and granite blocks the size of a truck? I mean, that's not normal. It's not stuff that people do when they're starting off, when you're like log cabin style, mining for gold. I mean, the Industrial Revolution, for all I know, it's just like we were like finally starting this place back up, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of inventions. I'm sure there's plenty of history that we've been told that is actually true. But I think there's a lot of stuff that's been, like, most of it has been edited to the extent where there's like stuff that people used to make inventions, a lot of it was already sitting here, and they just kind of took credit for it. That's kind of how it is with this AI shit, really. That my lunch break channel did some pretty cool research on the AI bit, talking about how these guys found like binary code. Well, I don't know. He didn't say they found it. The history is like that they wrote this like binary code for like a computer that, I mean, there was like, it's back in the 40s, and it was something that's just now being applied. Really, it's like, it doesn't make sense that they would have had it back then, but they did. They wrote a paper, and it's all stuff that was like, where did you get this idea? Like, it's super advanced. It's like and they were finding stuff in these Egyptian pyramids, and like really ancient, information. He was surmising that perhaps they found, I think it was an Egyptian pyramid. I'm not really sure where it was actually, but he was surmising that a lot of these artifacts that they take, that they don't let the public see, because every story comes with that storyline. It's like, oh, we found all this stuff, and a lot of the artifacts were taken, and there's only this many that are left to see for the public to see, out of this many that were found or whatever. And it's like stuff that they removed from the public, you don't get to see it, and it's like, why did you, what? That's not science, that's not archaeology. That's like a fucking, somebody's trying to tell a storyline, because why would you hide stuff that you found? Like, that doesn't make sense. That's not how we do science, like, why are the people that go to space sworn to secrecy? What is that? How does that work in this science? That's called narrative building. I mean, it's pretty obvious, right? That's all that truthers are noticing. You know, there's not enough information about certain things. It's gonna make you go, well, why? Why is that? If you pull on a thread and there is not much of a thread there, it's gonna make you wonder at least. I do agree that it's stupid to start making up stories, but it's okay as long as you're being clear that as long as your conjecture has some kind of, you know, where it's sort of logical, you know, where it's still within the realm of like possibility kind of thing. But like the stuff that we're looking at is kind of like it's not in the realm of possibility now. That's what's so fucking frustrating about it. Is like I don't think anybody could build like that now. And why is it all over the world? There's some drastic information missing. It's kind of like waking up and realizing you're in a twilight zone or something. It's pretty fucking weird. And it's weird that there's some people that just won't wake up to it, you know, because it just seems like this old world shit, there's something to it. And these buildings that they made for the world fairs, you know, it's like the fucking little information, they're like the little pamphlet that they gave you for the world fair. It's like a fucking, it's like a school thing. That's what it looks like. It's like you have to go and do all these different things. It's like an indoctrination camp, and that's what the pamphlet looks like. That's how it reads. They had these incubator babies for sale, and it's just like creepy, weird history that doesn't really check out. You know, it doesn't jive. Like, what's this dude doing with all these preemies? Where did he get? No parents would let someone take preemies to a fair. I mean, that's not. We don't live in a world where people would do that. That doesn't make sense, dude. It doesn't make sense. Why were there so many orphans? Like, it's not normal, dude. In a young society, you know, doesn't matter how many wars. I mean, they had so many orphans, hundreds of thousands of them. It was worldwide. I don't think there was that much war going on. Maybe there was. I don't know. It just seems more like, you know, a reset was done and people are starting to figure it out. There's still like an active cover-up going with all these old world buildings that are burning down, these stone buildings that burn down, and there's never a story as to how it happened. I mean, we're not crazy for noticing this shit, dude. The Great Fire of every city in the country, you know, left the place looking like a pile of rubble. All these old masonry buildings burned down. Nobody died. Everybody escaped a burning city on horse-drawn carriages with no stoplights. Give me a break. That doesn't check out either. Yeah, they probably were doing it. Probably the dude. I mean, that's the kind of damage that we see, at least. Compare it to the fires that we see nowadays that are just unexplainable. Well, kind of explainable, really. Like a fire that doesn't burn wood but melts metal. Like what? Like when you put metal in the microwave? Oh, one of those like firestorms that happens immediately and it's violent. Yeah, that's the kind of fire that won't burn your wooden spoon, but it'll fucking melt your fucking metal. And it's the kind of fire that water isn't really going to put out. So it's funny how there's never any water supply when these places have these fires. Like, oh, the reservoir was dry or the water was turned off. And give me a break, dude. You can't have that keep happening. Come on. You know, like somebody along the line would have had to have noticed that there was no reservoir in case there's a big fire. It's your job to be ready for that. How could you not have the reservoirs be filled? I mean, this is like the Palisades fire. The reservoirs they used to put out big fires were empty. So they had no fucking water. I mean, dude, and that had just happened in Hawaii where the town burned down in like 17 minutes. There was no water. The water was turned off. Why do you turn the water off when there's a fire? That doesn't make sense. There's no reason for that. You can say the electricity was turned off, but the water? I'm sorry, that doesn't make sense. And then to fence the whole place off and not let any of the people come back to their property after it burned down. What? I would feel like I was being done dirty. You know what I mean? You can't go back to your property? What? It burned down? I can't go back? You know, you lost loved ones and shit, your pets, and you can't go back? They're not letting you go back to your property for like months go by? But you can go there, but I can't? It's my property. I mean, there's got to be so many people that just feel so done dirty. I mean, it's just unreal. What are you doing? You're cleaning up your mess? Why can't we go back to our property? Nobody has a right to do that. That's an inside job. That's dirty business. The fact that they would fence off a fire and not let anybody back, but they could go there. Sorry, but that don't make sense. That's a dirty job right there, Josh Green. This happened because of climate change. What a fool, man. He thinks people believe him. Lahaina was dirty business, man. That shit was fucking dirty business. The fact there's like these things that are glaring blemishes in the stories that we get presented. It's like this is fucked up. You won't let people go back to their property. Why is that? That's who. How does anybody have a right to do that? It's not a free country if that's the case. I mean, obviously, you can't even own property. You get taxed on it, and if you don't pay your taxes, they take it. So it's like you don't ever own it. You're renting it. So many scams that just get let go. That's just how it is. That's not how it was supposed to be, though. That's not how it was originally planned. Yeah, I mean, the directed energy weapons, I think, can fill in the blanks on a lot of these situations, because I think the 5Gs could be a directed energy weapon. I mean, it is, basically. It's what it is. I mean, you can't find the information now, but before you could, when it was like being used as active denial, and it probably still is in the military. It's 5G hardware. It's the same hardware. They just turn it up a lot higher, and it's like fucking. It makes you feel like your skin's on fire. They call it non-lethal intervention. So people disperse because they feel like they're on fire. You know what I mean? That's the same hardware that 5G is. And so everybody was just like, oh, okay, we're just having internet put in. I'm sorry, but something that makes somebody's skin feel like it's on fire probably has the ability to do some serious damage. I mean, I get the impression that you probably could turn it up higher. I mean, I don't think that's the highest you could turn it up, whatever they're doing on people, to disperse them. That's evil shit, dude. Yeah, I mean, yeah, right. It's called fucking spontaneous combustion. But, like, that's what these fires are. That's what happens to people in these fires. They get cooked. They're just gone. They have to use, it's like, they could barely even use the dental records in some of these bodies. Like, it happened the Napa Valley, or I think it was Napa that had a fire like that, where the place just got leveled, like the Home Depot, and it's just a pile of ashes, like fucking, and the people in their cars, they had to use their teeth to identify them because they were just like gone, cooked. The cars were melted, it was like, it happened that quick, just boom, swept through. The footage from that shit's scary too, man. It happens so fast that people can't even get rescued, And that's not normal, dude. That's not how it's supposed to happen. Like a wildfire, you got time to get away, typically. I mean, even if there's wind and, if it's just a natural fire that's burning, typically you're going to have some time to get away. Even if it's just on foot, But, like, people don't have time to get away in these fires that I'm talking about. There's a different story. There's something else going on there. It ain't right. I remember when that happened, when Lahaina got burned down, I was like, dude, and I went out the next day, and me and my girlfriend went out shopping or whatever, and it's like, dude, people are just going around like it's just another day, but like this whole town just got incinerated, dude. Everybody. I mean, I'm sure they're not honest about how many people died there. I mean, how's anybody supposed to know? They just, 100 people. That's a lot, really, when you think about it. That's fucking horrible. But I'm sure a lot more people died than that. There was like talk of like 1,000 plus kids missing and shit. So sketchy, dude. Yeah, big secret hidden in plain sight, yeah. Right, it's like we gotta talk all quiet about it. But the thing is, like, nobody seems to care, They're just, like, dude, people that have the kind of weapons that would level, the towers. You think it was just like fucking a normal, like, demolition? I don't know. I think I give that dude Matt some credit for what he's done. He's built his channel around the 9/11 thing, basically. The Math Easy Solutions channel, because he's all into the 9/11 conspiracy and Judy Woods stuff. People think Judy Woods is a psyop or whatever. I mean, of course they want you to think that, you know. Oh, I beat you. It's like, you know, when people tell you that the thing you think is true is a psyop, you're like, no, 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 that's what they want you to think, that it's a psyop. That's the psyop. It's like you beat him in the game of psyops. Tim Osmond, like he thinks he has the winning argument. It's all fake. It's all fake. That's a pretty good argument. I like it. Off the off-world stage is like everything that you see is a world stage. It's like, oh shit, even social media. All right, well, so everything is fake. No, he's not. He's not stupid. He's actually got some nuance. I mean, he's like, basically, if you hear about it and it's just like, and it's playing into some of these like political, you know, there's like this stuff going on where like every story like is going to be working towards some end, you know, like it's going to check these certain boxes where it's like there's certain, you know, agendas, and like either red or blue, it's going to drive the divide more, or keep everyone arguing. It's going to push this agenda more, and you're going to be a story that sort of plays into this idea. It's all just propaganda. None of it's honest, and you know, you can pretty much spot it. That's basically his whole point, Tim Osmond of IPS. And it's like he was kind of a wingnut flat earther in the beginning, you know, like back in the early days of flat Earth. But I thought he was funny. I liked him. I always liked him. Even when I heard the shit that he said to some people, like I thought it was pretty funny. But like, you know, there was some dirt going around, but it wasn't really dirt. It was just him bitching somebody out, you know. That was like fucking stalking him or whatever. And it sounds pretty legit, you know, like like what somebody would really say, you know, if they were getting like, because he got fucked by some people. They hacked into his shit and like he got burned. He's like still going to court over some of it, I think. I don't know. He had a stalker. But he went to like a town hall meeting or whatever, and he introduced himself as Mark Sargent. And that video is funny. He's talking about the ISS and how it's fake. I like when people bring that shit up at the town hall meetings or wherever it was that he was at. It was like an official meeting, you know. He's like, my name is Mark Sargent. That's not his name. I don't think his name's even Tim Osmond. Maybe it is, but I doubt it. Because isn't that fucking Bin Laden's name? Tim Osmond. It's funny that he has a name like that. And he's the off-world stage guy. Am I tripping? Do you guys even know who I'm talking about? Maybe not. You're old school flat earthers. I've seen you guys on this shit for years. There's only one person here. One of you people, I know you've been around Albert Billy. 16 Alpha V never comes to my shows anymore. Maybe I accidentally banned him or something. I'm summoning 16 Alpha V. Where the fuck is that guy? Doesn't like me anymore. What a jerk. Because my shows suck. I don't feel like playing guitar right now. I played a lot yesterday. My friend Jeff came over and we're jamming. He's funny. He gets all spaced out. He just starts like he holds it together, but he's really good. I love his music. Is there anybody in there? Should I just keep talking or should I end the show? I asked AI why I can prove water is flat. It answered it only looks flat. Everyone knows Earth is. That's the kind of answer you'd expect. I have some questions I want to ask AI, but I don't want to use AI. Do you want to ask some AI questions for me? I got some good ones. I want to ask the AI, if we lived, I want to ask AI, maybe I don't want to mention it as being Earth, but I want to pose the whole thing as being like, imagine if we put a big ball in a darkened room and put the ball on something that like a rotisserie where you could like rotate the ball and it was being held off the ground. And then you darken the whole room and put lights on the walls, little LED lights everywhere, so the only light in the room is the LED lights, little teeny lights scattered all over the whole room, the floor and ceiling. And then you spin that ball slowly with the shutter open on a camera. Like, will you be able to point? Like, this is what I want to know. Is like, can you be on a ball that's spinning and capture the perfect circle star trails? Like, where would you have to be standing to capture the perfect circle star trails? If you're on a spinning ball and you had a camera pointing up away from the ball, wherever you are on that ball, where would you have to be able to get the perfect circle star trails? See, I want to ask a question like that because those perfect circle star trails, you think you would have to be at the axis of that rotation that's happening, the alleged axis of the ball that you're on that's spinning. I would think that you wouldn't be able to just be standing way over here on the side of the ball and aim your camera at the North Star, and capture perfect circles. I would think that it wouldn't be that easy. I think you would capture more a bunch of lines. Like, I don't think you would see perfect circles anywhere if you're on a ball except for at the axis of rotation at the pole, either pole, because it doesn't make sense. If you have to, I mean, I don't know why this hasn't been modeled. Should I just stop talking about it? I have another question too, but I don't know. Maybe it's boring. But I want to ask an AI. I want to run through the thought exercise of like, if we started acquiring property on Earth, we just started off with. I'm going to keep it in a circle-shaped piece of property because it's easy to do that way. I want to just start with a circular piece of property somewhere, and then I'm going to tell the AI, okay, we're going to build an empire. I want to expand our property evenly in every direction, and we'll buy it in increments, and just walk them through it, okay, so we expanded it, 500 feet this way and have it in a location where you can actually maybe do it virtually, just, okay, now we own that much more property, and just do it every time, walk them through it, okay, what's the perimeter around our property? It's bigger perimeter now, okay, because we own more property. It's a bigger circle because we expanded evenly in every direction. So now we have a bigger circle with more property in it. And just keep doing it like that. Do it a bunch of times, And okay, now we bought 500 miles. We walked 500 miles away from our circle and we started to make a new circle, walked all the way around our circle. So we're expanding evenly in every direction, starting with a small circle, but now it just got to be a huge circle. And we just keep buying more, and every time you ask the AI, so now we own this much, how much property do we own within our circle now? Okay, and how do you know how much property that is? Because there's a perimeter around it. Okay, well, what's that perimeter? And just do the math. Okay, you could even do it. It'd be awesome if we could do it where it's like in a real world, where they're like, we're starting in here in California. I'm gonna own what property do you own? Okay, you own part of this district, and you own part of that district, and and eventually you own like almost the whole county, and you're spreading out evenly in every direction. You own part of the Pacific Ocean, and it's just doing it by the book, and every time you expand, you get a new perimeter, and you ask the AI, how much property do we own now? And what's the perimeter around it? Okay, and it's a bigger perimeter every time because you bought property, so you're encompassing more area now. And so the perimeter is going to have to grow every time because you're going and buying more property and it's expanding evenly in every direction. And you just keep walking them through it. And just, you're going to have a lot of time on your hands, but like you can go and buy huge chunks. Okay, we're going to buy 1,000 miles now. And we'll walk away from our circle, 1,000 miles away from our circle. And then we'll start making a new circle around the outside of our circle that we already had. So now we got 1,000 more miles, boom. And so it's, what's our perimeter now? How much property do we have? How do you know how much property we have? Okay, because we measured our perimeter. It's a circle with this much area within it. Okay. And just ask the AI every time, We're building a brain here. It has to understand logic. Okay, so now we're expanding more. And you buy another 2,000 miles, And so it's just, now you can buy chunks, but you gotta keep doing it until you're done. I shouldn't even say that, but just keep expanding, right? So the perimeter is bigger now. Okay, so how much property do we have? And I'll give you an answer. How do you know how much property we have? because the perimeter around all the property is this length, it's a circle with this measurement, and so therefore there's this amount of property inside of it, and it's including part of Oregon, part of Nevada, part, and just list off all the places that you own now, and just keep expanding. But you can buy big chunks at a time. Next time we're buying 10,000 miles at a time. And it just, your circle gets fucking massive. And because there's a lot of places on Earth to acquire, to spread out into, right? So if you just keep spreading out, I wonder if the AI would ever figure out what you're doing. Because every time you get more property, you're going to realize, okay, there's a bigger circle now because we're encompassing more property. So, okay, how much property do we have? Ask them every time. And so it's like, and the perimeter is how big? How much property do we have? Okay, yeah. And every time it's expanding out, you're acquiring more every time. The perimeter is bigger every time. Way bigger because you're buying huge chunks, but it's a perfect circle because you started with a perfect circle and you've just been expanding evenly in every direction. And so you just keep walking this AI through this whole exercise, and eventually, you're going to own like almost the whole world or whatever. You're going to like spread out into everywhere pretty much, or almost, I guess I would think. But I think at no point in time during this exercise will you ever hear the AI come back at you with like, we own this much property, but the perimeter is now smaller than it was before. Or like, how did you figure out how much property we have? Because I measured the amount of property that isn't left, and that's the perimeter around our property. What? So now we're just... So our property line is shrinking, but we're still acquiring more property? Yeah, because you're just running out of space. But what about that big wide expanse that we had? It's not wide anymore? Well, it just flipped over. What do you mean? You live on a ball. It's just a head fuck, dude. We don't live on a ball. Nobody thinks we live on a ball. I say the Earth expanse only widens. There's never a point in time when your perimeter is going to shrink. That's silly to think it would. I'm trying to force the curve here. But, it's like, you can ask people this. If I draw a circle on the ground, can you draw a smaller circle around the outside of it? And they'll say no, because it's an impossible thing to do, obviously. Okay, so what if I draw a bigger circle? Then can you draw a smaller circle around the outside of it? No. Still the same situation. So it doesn't matter how big a circle I draw first. Is it always going to be impossible to draw a smaller circle around the outside of it? And they'll always agree with you because they don't see where you're going with this. And it's just a silly little trick, but like, really, I think that's how the world is. I think it just keeps getting wider. I don't think there's ever going to be a time when you have a different situation. Because when you finish making your circle, if there's more Earth beyond that circle, the whole perimeter, the next circle is going to be bigger and it's not going to be smaller. So how could you ever make an argument that eventually that circle would start to shrink? You just basically have to believe that you live on a ball to make that argument. And a ball with the caveat that you'll never feel like you're on a ball. So that's a head fuck right there. I'm sorry, that just doesn't work with me. I don't want to depart from what I expect to be reality. I think a widening perimeter would only get wider until you finally hit like a barrier. I don't think you just come back to where you started. I don't think that's the kind of place we live. I don't think it wraps around like that. It doesn't make sense to me. I think that's counterintuitive. Like, I think if we start spiraling out, from a center point, the spiral just gets bigger. You just keep encompassing more area. I don't think it makes any sense logically to think that spiral would ever start to get smaller. It doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, people just don't. Even if something like that seems compelling, they'll still be like, well, what about space? What about it? It has to be fake. We can show how it's fake. It's not even hard to show. You just gotta show them on video those things that appear in the midair and she grabs it and starts playing with it. They're doing computer tricks. That's just been proven. Why is that even up for debate anymore? There's no shadow. There's like little tracking marks on the floating package of food. They're just same tricks, different pile of shit. Pretty stupid, huh? And these guys like Dave McKeegan, they'll do these videos that seem so like compelling, where it's like, oh, of course it's true. Look at all these pictures they took and all this blah blah blah. And they're using this kind of camera, and at this point in time, and you can tell that it must be how it was because you can see the sun and the angle and the fucking shows you all. Oh, this is how they were right there, and because it all lines up and it's all perfect, it all makes sense. They were tracked and they were fucking. We saw them do it, and it's all true. And he just like by the end of his presentation, like, oh, well, this must be true. I'll leave comments being like, do you think NASA would ever lie to us about anything? And you'd be surprised the amount of triggered people that come into the reply. Do it for like an exercise. It's kind of fun. Because I'll never say anything mean. I'll just be like, do you think NASA would ever lie to us about anything? No. And it's like, why? You stupid flurf, I'm like, no, I'm just wondering. I thought maybe they might have, what are you talking about? And I'll mention something, I'll be like, well, what about the Jupiter footage? It looks pretty stupid, Like sometimes it's rotating, like a planet. Other times it's not rotating, but the storms are rotating. That's like drastically inconsistent, Oh, no, that's just, you don't know. Because they probably did like a time lapse, also they're doing trickery. No, stupid fleur. You get all mad and triggered. Yeah, they don't get it. They don't want to get it. I just wondered, like, do these astronauts have like families, like kids that like figure it out? They're like, dude, my mom has a bunch of hairspray in her hair. She's on the ISS, like total fucking clown. There's got to be some people out there that are just like that are in the know. That are like they're like an NDA. It's like these kids that didn't even want to have nothing to do with it. They have to not tell anybody about it. They have friends that are like flat earthers and shit. Isn't your dad an astronaut? Your dad's an astronaut? That was your mom on the ISS, dude. She's got hairspray in her hair. Look at her, dude. That's not real. It's not gravity, dude. Your mom has just an ugly hairdo. That's stupid, dude. Tell your mom she's got to stop faking space. Don't they have children? I mean, that doesn't really make sense that you would have kids and then you would go get on a rocket that could blow up, It's not very responsible. Maybe they don't have kids. I hope they don't, because it's not very good to just lie to your kids like that. Put hairspray in and look like a clown on TV. You're just embarrassing your family. Don't do that. Say no to NASA's money. Say no to faking space. Whoa, an apple fell out of the tree right when I said that. It must be true that they're faking space, because God was like, yep. He dropped an apple right then. It's perfect punctuation. Oh, somebody is still here. The veritable flatness of water is Achilles' heel of the ball worshippers. Ironically, dip in immortal waters. That's classic. Well, yeah, but the thing is, they have an excuse for that, though. They're like, well, the gravity pulls everything to the center, Gravity has the opposite force that we really can measure. But it's like, so it looks flat, but it's not. That's like an excuse, bro. But we have satellites in space, bro. Ha, flat earther, stupid, you lose. But like, they don't understand that like things flying in the sky doesn't prove that it's a ball. What do you think? They're all lying? Yeah, I do. There's secret societies and shit. I mean, they can control things like that. Where it's like the general public doesn't really have access to the information. That guy, Professor Phil or whatever, Phil Bell, he claims to have like designed the camera app for the rocket they sent up on one of these launches, and he's all, yeah, and I was still controlling the camera once it got into space, and I took a snapshot of Earth, and it's a globe, and he comes into the debates. He's the one guy that actually claims to have seen the globe, because he put a camera on a rocket that went to space. So he does make for a pretty good guy to bump heads with. I mean, because he's thoroughly convinced, or I mean, unless he's just a total liar shill, which could be the case. But he claims to have put a camera on a rocket that was launched, and he has all the information, and he has the pictures and everything. It looks kind of legit, really, to be honest. But like, sorry, I just still don't believe it. I still don't believe it. I mean, basically, you have to just be like, okay, well, if everything they say is true, then it's true. Okay, well, that's kind of a dumb position to take. The thing is, they fake space, by the way, and we've caught them faking space. So if everything they say is true, then why isn't it true? Then why are they lying? I'm sorry, I got you one upped on that one. If it's so real, then why do they gotta lie? Because they do lie. We've caught them. They lie the whole time. It's a lie, in my opinion. If they lie about something that serious, I mean, once, then it's just all a big clown show. That's why you never should have lied about it once. Because now the whole thing is a clown show to anybody with critical thought left in their mind. Uh, but it just seems unimportant to a lot of people. Are like, well, whatever. What do you mean, whatever? It's kind of a like paradigm shifting you have to go through. And it kind of changes the way you see the world in the sense of like, so what's out there, you know? Like if we're not floating through space, then what's beyond the known world? Just emptiness, or like, but it's just a level plane that just keeps extending. I guess it would have to, huh? The same way space extends, you know, where something ends, something else begins. It's like there's no end. How could something end? It doesn't make any sense. There has to be something beyond that end for it to be in. I don't know. There's no such thing as an end. There's no beginning. There's no end. It just goes forever. But that's just as crazy sounding as the Big Bang. I say the Big Bang happened in a little hat. That's a bumper sticker right there. The Big Bang happened in a little hat. Yeah, they got a light of glurf. Got a light of glurf. You're a moron, Sean Hawkins. Stop projecting, dude. Isn't it cool that Sean Hawkins subs to all the Flat Earth channel? He's like, I hate these guys, they're so dumb. I'm not going to be like Sob, though, and start making fun of your personal appearance. That's not very nice. But Sob is funny, though. But like, I'm just not that kind of comedian. I'm not going to make fun of the way somebody looks. That's mean. And because I look crazy, too. Or whatever. I have hair growing in weird places, too. Nobody's business but my own. Yeah, the thing is, the problem with you, Sean Hawkins, is that you never actually address the arguments that I make. You just come in and be like, oh, well, the Earth is in motion, so that's how it looks. No, dude, you didn't even address what I said. I said, I could just imagine, like, if you're on a big ball and it's spinning in motion and surrounded, you know, amidst starry skies, you know, all around it. It's a big ball spinning in motion, spinning in one direction, right? You can only spin in one direction when you're on a ball. So we're spinning in one direction and we're amidst starry little points of light everywhere. So where would you have to be on that big spinning ball if you wanted to get the perfect circle star trails, you know? You're on a big ball spinning and there's an axis of rotation there has to be on a ball, even if it's tilted a little bit or whatever. Where would you have to be on that ball to be able to capture the perfect circle, concentric circle star trails while it's spinning in one direction? And this is a question I'm trying to pose to just somebody that would have never thought about it. Because they might be like, oh, well, you'd have to be at the axis. Right, that makes sense. Right, that makes sense. It doesn't make sense that I could be standing way over here on the side of the ball in California and I can locate the North Star, point my camera at it, and get perfect concentric circles. Like I'm looking beyond all that curvature and I'm somehow capturing the perfect circles that I should be seeing if I was standing at the axis. I mean, that doesn't make any sense, dude. Sorry, but that just kind of blows the whole idea of like living on a ball. There's so many things about the idea of living on a ball that don't jive with our actual observations. And yet people will still argue that they do, and they'll sit there like Jeranism. Oh, the sun rises like this, so it has to be a ball. Or we just don't, you know, we're not busy like I mean, it's cool to try to model. I think the model is pretty fascinating and it's actually pretty brilliant. But I'm not convinced we live on a ball. It's something I'll have to experience in some way. I'll have to be able to experience living on a ball in some way where it resembles living on a ball. If I go everywhere on the ball, but I'm always oriented upright, I never feel like I'm going around the side of a ball or underneath a ball, then I don't feel like I'm experiencing a ball in that case. If I don't ever have to, you know, notice any curvature, there's no way that I can actually measure it, then that's just still not experiencing the ball. If it doesn't feel like it's spinning, but we see that motion in the sky, but yet we can't really detect it down here necessarily. I mean, we don't feel any motion, let's face it. So it's like, if it's kind of like this thing where we just have to accept it without being able to really like measure it with any kind of meaningful, it's more of just like these observations that have been gathered over the years, of the sky and the eclipses and the analemma and the ephemeral and the counter rotation and the two poles and, all this fancy modeling. But like, really, when you think about it, how can you capture perfect concentric star circles from way over here on the side of the ball? I'm in California, I'm nowhere near the North Pole. But I can get perfect concentric circle star trails from where I'm standing. If you point my camera at the North Star, I mean, isn't there a whole bunch of curvature between me and the North Star, Like, shouldn't I be, like, I would think anywhere I'd point my camera in the sky here on the side of the ball, you know, I'm like between the equator and the North Pole. I'm way over here on the side. I'm not that close to the North Pole. I shouldn't be able to capture perfect concentric circle star trails, but I can. And it's because the sky is doing something fancy. It's not the Earth. I mean, we can't, you would have to experience that in order to really, you know, think that. I don't experience living on a ball, so it's not crazy to say that that's not true, you know. I mean, yeah, I've seen all this stuff on TV that's supposed to make it seem like it's real. I'm not, like, blind to that, but we've seen so many dumb things they've tried to pass off as being real, and that's where you guys kind of turn into clowns because you won't even accept the fact that, like, there's some fake shit going on. Like, there's that NASA video of the girl grabbing something that just appears out of thin air. That's official NASA footage, dude. What the? That's a computer trick. I mean, I'm sorry. Now your shit's just like, dude, you lost all your credibility. So you're doing computer tricks there in space? If it's so real, why do you gotta lie, is what I want to know. I mean, because that's evidence of fuckery. I don't care what kind of cool thing you thought. They were just showing some technology or how to do virtual augmented. Yeah, but they were in space. You shouldn't be doing computer tricks if you want people to believe you after that. I mean, I don't know. Are you going to try to say that's not a real video or something? I don't have to prove shit, dude. I'm not the one making big claims. You're the one saying that we live on a ball that's spinning and all these certain measurements. And I didn't make any claims. I'm just saying that it's not true. I don't have to prove anything. I don't have to prove that it's not true. I'm just saying that it doesn't seem to be true. I made a pretty good argument why it isn't. How can you capture perfect circle star trails when you're nowhere near the axis of rotation? How does that make any sense to you? I mean, you gotta at least make an argument. Sorry, dude, but just people going to, stuff that's on TV. I'm talking about like what I can verify myself, because we've seen them doing fake shit on their stuff, so it's discredited. Like I said, they showed fucking stuffed animal appearing in midair. That girl, she grabs it out of, it's like, that's not a flat Earth video. That's official NASA video. I don't claim the Earth is flat. No, I don't. I do like to call myself a flat earther just because that's just like the group of people I identify with, but like really I don't make any claim like that. It's not flat. It's planar. It's a level planar realm. That's how I would describe it if I was being put on the spot. I don't think that it forms a spherical shape, and I don't think it's spinning. Those are my claims, but that's just because that's what I experience. I have good reason to claim that. That's the objective reality. That's what I'm claiming. What I want you to prove is that my objective reality isn't what it seems to be. That's just, we all experience a planar realm. You have to admit that. And if you won't admit that, then I don't think you're even arguing in good faith. I mean, people say that like a gyro compass or a pendulum is proof that the Earth is spinning. No, I don't think so, dude. I call that parlor tricks. And it's just because it doesn't make sense, really. I mean, the whole thing is like where they say, well, if you hover in a helicopter above Earth, you're already moving at the same speed of Earth. Yeah, or you're just sitting there, It's like, so what if we hang a pendulum off a helicopter hovering? Then will we see the Earth turn under the helicopter? Is that going to show the different? I mean, that's the next thing we got to do, really, if we're going to continue this argument. Now someone's got to hover a helicopter, all right? And we got to hang a pendulum, a Foucault pendulum from it, and get it going how you say it's supposed to go. And then I want to see if the Earth turns underneath the helicopter, because that's what you claim. You claim the pendulum shows the Earth's turning, and since we can't do that with a helicopter hovering there, it's always going to maintain the same orientation. Well, now hang a pendulum off that helicopter. I'm trying to take it to the obvious next step here. If a pendulum is going to show the Earth motion, but we can't see that motion, that same motion, when we hover a helicopter above the Earth, well, what if we hang a pendulum off the helicopter? Then will we see the Earth turn underneath it? It's not pathetic. It's a perfectly legit question. But it basically makes your story sound pathetic, because I don't think the Earth is going to turn in any case. The helicopter is going to maintain its same orientation. You can say that's because it's moving with the Earth, or we can just take it to the next step, because you have a thing that you claim shows the Earth's rotation, the fucking pendulum. So hang your pendulum off the helicopter now, and now let's see if the Earth rotates underneath the helicopter. That's the obvious next step we have to do in this argument. And if you think that's pathetic, well, that's just because you're not arguing in good faith. Why does that pendulum have to be attached to the Earth? I would think that it would have to not be attached to the Earth. I mean, that's the only thing that people could say in response to something like that. No, the pendulum has to be attached to the Earth. Why, though? I mean, if it's just hanging, I think that's the only thing that it has to be doing. It's just hanging and swinging while the Earth turns underneath it. If the fact that it has to be attached to the Earth is like part of it, well, that needs to be explained. Because I would think just something hanging and swinging, you should still see the Earth turning underneath it. Right? But we know that when we hover a helicopter above the Earth doesn't turn underneath it. So logic would tell you that what you should do now is hang a pendulum off the helicopter and see if then the Earth will turn underneath the helicopter, which obviously is a pathetic thing to say, because obviously it won't. And there's no real good, response you can come up with. So it is pathetic, you're right. And you're probably not going to have anything else to say about it, because it pretty much just makes the whole thing seem totally stupid. I mean, I can't think of a good response. What is your response, Sean Hawkins? Is it going to move underneath the helicopter then? Is that a good way to make the Earth turn underneath the helicopter? Hang a pendulum from it? Are you embarrassed? Is that why you left? Because you got nothing else to say in response to something like that? It is pathetic. You're right. It's totally pathetic. It just makes the whole thing seem totally stupid. Hey, Realm Walker. I'm glad that Sean Hawkins stopped by, though. I want someone to make their argument, because I want to verify that it's totally ridiculous. And if you can't come up with a good response to what I just told you just now, and pathetic is the only thing you have to say, well, I agree with you. We can agree to agree. So basically that renders the pendulum a total fucking joke. So I don't want to hear anybody mention that again. And now we can move on to the gyro compass. I mean, it's just like a little similar idea, right? It's like a little spinny toy that spins and fucking tells you something, whatever. I don't know. It's a little spinny toy, and you want me to believe the whole Earth is moving because this thing spins and moves, because it changes at latitude and all this, like, advanced detail. That is a pretty good argument. I got to say, it's good evidence, actually, but still, I don't know. I still have to understand the device better. That's where I'm at with that, because I don't quite know what it's measuring. If it really worked like that, I'd have to see it and be there to make all the measurements to really believe it. I know there's people that say that's kind of a cop-out, but I still want to know why the pendulum won't move underneath the helicopter, won't show the Earth moving underneath the helicopter, or why that's pathetic, because I think that's a perfectly good argument. The pendulum shows the Earth's motion, as due to its orientation being changed after time, then can we use that same application but hanging it off a helicopter that we know won't change its orientation as it hovers above the Earth? So can we force that to happen by putting a fucking pendulum up it? Yeah, it's pathetic. You're right. But like, if you're still going to claim the pendulum is legit, then that makes me doubt your. I know that's like poisoning the well or something, but like the rest of your claims, it makes me doubt they have any. It makes me doubt the veracity of your claims. And this thing with Jaron going and like realizing that he was wrong about the no 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and just waffling back to the flat Earth. I mean, that it made him look so weird. It's like he's turning into this thing where it's like we're in a big club and like I'm leaving the club. I'm gonna go over here. You guys are jerks. It's like no, we're talking about reality and stuff. And like we basically all were just we had left the team science. Where it's like we're all on the same team and we're all figured everything out and everything's exactly how we figured it out, even though none of it's measurable. No, we're not on that team. We're not gonna go back to that team with you. Are you crazy? You got to eat so much bullshit just to even start going back. I mean, what in the fuck happened there? I mean, I do think it was pretty interesting. It's like, for me, it was like a realization, and like, I just can't let people, convince me of things without, because he had me believing that there wasn't a 24-hour sun out there because I was paying attention to his stupid model. It was kind of a wake up for me, too. Like, I could have figured that out myself. I mean, the analemma is pretty evident. There's two loops. So you would get the impression that whatever's happening in the north is happening in the south. And the reason there's a bigger loop with the analemma, I think it's just because that's the bigger loop is going to be in reference to where the sun's traveling further away from you at that time of the year. That's why it's a bigger loop, because it's going further away. Like if you're in the south and you do the analemma, the bigger loop is in the north. But if you're in the north and you do the analemma, the bigger loop is in the south. So it's just the bigger loop is just indicating the sun having traveled further away from you at that time of the year where you're at. It's location dependent. So there's always going to be two loops, And so you get the impression that, okay, well then, basically the sun's making two loops in the north and in the south. So why wouldn't there be a 24-hour sun in the south if there's one in the north? I mean, you can use reason to kind of come to that conclusion, You don't have to go look at all the sun calc data or go travel all over the world. You just stand there and take an analemma, it takes a year to do it, but you can chart the sun's path and you can see it's making a certain pattern in the sky, and however it has to do it, I understand why people think it's a globe because of that, but like we could just be looking at a fancy light show for all I know. Maybe that seems like a cop-out to some people, but there's no curvature. We can't detect the motion with any meaningful degree of like real, like whatever they call it, empirical scientific measurements. But yeah, the space show shenanigans continues, so it keeps people kind of bought into it. It is kind of our nemesis as people who believe in reality. My girlfriend's taking a nap. I was gonna go shoot the shit in there, but she's always got so much brilliant shit to say. It's fucking amazing. And you need to sign non-disclosure agreements to advance. You know you're entering a place where all hope is lost. Yeah. Who had to sign a non-disclosure agreement? Not somebody I was talking about, did they? Jaron? Jaron kind of strikes me as being sort of like a plant, really. I think he could just be an idiot. But, like, it's weird, though. And there's things about him that threw me off before, too. I know some people say, oh, I knew he was a plant ever since the beginning. I didn't know that. But what threw me off about him is that, like, he would fall into these, like, petty fights that were just, like, total, like, fucking childish, like, the things he would say when he was mad at somebody. It's just like, dude, you're just so weird, petty. It just seemed like such strange behavior from somebody who had like helped open my eyes to like some, because his flat earth content was some of the first flat earth content I saw, and I was like, whoa, when I woke up to this new perspective, it was weird for me to see him succumb to such childish bullshit. And I'm like, what? Who is this guy? Like, it kind of gives me the idea that maybe he was handed some information that was profound, and then he was still just a putz, you know? Yeah, like, yeah, sand garden. Yeah, shit. Sand, kindergarten sandbox, you know what I'm saying? It just seemed like not, like, and with it too, it's like, how do these guys get so much information, but then they're just like, when they spend their time being like lames on the internet, like, where were they took the time to acquire all this information, you know? It's almost like that was handed to them. With it too, he gets some of these like weird sort of petty like squabbles with people, and in my opinion, he never really comes out ahead. Like he never comes out looking good in any of that. Like it just like he's kind of just I don't know. I mean, I guess I kind of know really. He always seemed kind of like dorky in a way that was sort of cocky, you know. And I guess it was just the fact that he was saying things that I think are true for the most part that sort of made me like not notice that as much. But like dorky in the way where it's like he's just kind of cocky, you know. He just comes across like so bad. But all the same, I support him continuing what he's doing. I hope he doesn't succumb to some of the childish, you know, shenanigans that he gets. It's just embarrassing, you know. I mean, like with this thing that happened with McToon and him, I heard about, you know, where it's like and his girlfriend, his wife, ex-wife or whatever, his girl comes on and starts trying to expose him or something, and like, oh god, how embarrassing, dude! I can't believe you air your shit out in public like this. That's so fucking rough, dude. Sorry, Witsit. I mean, I don't know. I'm glad Witsit didn't flip. You know, I don't think he's gonna flip back to the globe. People were saying that it was all a big show. You know, I think it's real. I think they really went. But I know that sounds kind of lame to some people, but and there was some stuff about the footage that I thought was kind of funky, like there's that line in the sky, but I guess that was explained away, you know, but the way they had to stitch the footage together because it was fucking 360 camera technology or something. I don't know, whatever. And there was also that one bit where like Jaren's footage had this cloud that like followed him down. It was really weird. It didn't look like what we would see in reality. Like it just seemed funky. And I don't know. I don't know if I ever heard anybody explain that one away. Maybe it just seemed too petty to Jaren to try to explain it away. But that was a weird one. I remember thinking that looked pretty funky because the cloud was in the distance, and then you see Jaren, he's walking up to the fucking outhouse or porta potty or whatever, and the cloud in the distance kind of came closer, and it was like just it moved. Its orientation in the sky was just all fucked up. I mean, it didn't look real at all. And it does seem kind of weird. That's the only proof that you have that it was fake? I mean, yeah, I wouldn't even say that it's fake necessarily, but that was weird. I would like to hear an explanation for that. But I know I'm not going to get one. And Witz's whole vape thing, I thought that was pretty lame. You know, and I just wish that people didn't like. That was funny though. I gotta say, it's pretty funny. It's almost like he did do that on purpose, but I don't. I think maybe he did breathe out his vape, but he just didn't. He didn't mean to. Like he wasn't aware that it was going to happen. You know, like that. He wasn't trying to do it to trick people, but then he did. You know, and then he was like, "Oh, whoa, look, I just breathed." Instead of just saying, "Oh, I was just vaping a second ago," that's probably what it was. You know, he just was all dorky because he didn't want to get busted by his wife or something because he's a dork. But I only can spot it because I got it. You know, that's all. I'm not like trying to talk shit really necessarily. I've been in those kind of relationships, you know, where you just have to hide shit, and it sucks, dude. It sucks. I don't envy you. I'm glad that you're not with that girl anymore. With it, you don't want to have to hide shit from your lady. Because like, see what happens when you hide shit from your lady. I mean, the drama that ensues. Everybody on the internet's like, yeah, what's it, vapes it, and all this shit happens, you know. What a mess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sean Hawkins, you never responded. I bet you're still there listening. Fucking guy. Don't be such a dork, dude. Just tell me what the fuck this explanation is. What's your explanation for the things I said? Pathetic isn't a good response. If in a debate, that you would lose. You lose, Sean Hawkins. You got to debate the things I'm saying. I mean, duh. Like, what do you think? That you won that argument or something? It wasn't really an argument, but still, I mean, I don't have to prove our objective reality. That's silly. You can't shrug that onto me. That's so silly. I think it's weird. Because I'm not subbed to these guys like McToon and these clowns. Like, I'm not going to sub to Sean Hawkins. Because I know he doesn't have a good response to the things that I'm saying. So I'm not going to find any answers there. I'll just find insults and like hypocritical, stupid bullshit. Prove the flat earth. Prove your objective reality. No, I don't have to. It's just self-evident. Everywhere you go on earth, you're never going to have to account for any curvature or any rotation. You don't have to. You don't have to factor that in. You could live your whole life here on earth without ever knowing that it's a spinning ball and you'll be just fine. And therefore, it's information that's what I call moot. It's a moot point at best. So if that's your argument, then we can just leave it at that. Your argument is a moot point. My argument is just reality, you know? I'm just coming from the place of reality where I'm like, okay, everywhere I go on earth, you know, like I just said, you don't need to know that dumb information about this moot point to live here. So it's really moot. There's no application to have that information in your mind. You're not gonna have to fucking, you know, it's stupid. It's just a joke, dude. So now you can watch NASA videos and believe them. That's about the size of it, really. You can't really do anything with that information. Call people idiots. No, Sean Hawkins, you don't have anything to say. You're no fun, dude. You think I'm gonna go sub to your channel, Sean, so I can be insulted? Do you think I'm that bored? Prove it's flat. That's not what you have to do. That's where people made a mistake. They should have never called it a flat Earth debate. That's buying into that whole dumb, like, you know. Like, somebody in Martin Luther's chat today was talking about how the petrified tree things is dumb. It makes flat earthers look dumb, they said. I'm like, newsflash, flat earthers already look dumb. That's not a very good argument on your behalf. I do understand that some of that petrified tree talk is kind of is silly in the sense of like what they were saying, and I agree with what they were saying, which is like there's igneous rock, which is like rock that had been melted, you know, like obsidian, stuff that's clearly, you know, the result of melted rock, and that's obviously not a petrified tree. It can't be. It might contain parts of petrified trees, you know, but I mean it's melted rock. It's like a amalgamation of all kinds of different rock, you know, and the sedimentary rock is I think the sedimentary rock can turn into igneous rock, but but it's different. It hasn't been melted yet, basically. So there's two different types, you know. And I think basically petrified stuff is like fossilized, you know, which is like mineral. it's like mineral replacement or something. It's the way they explain it, it does kind of make sense. But like what I'm saying is like fossilized stuff isn't the same as igneous. I'm pretty sure igneous rock could contain some fossilized stuff, but it's just all been melted and swirled into one big mix. And then there's like the pumice or whatever, and like the stuff that's on the outside of it. I think it's like the ash or something that turns into like a rocky. I don't know. It's trippy. Pumice, like I always think of the pumice as being like ash that turned to rock. And the ball worshippers, yeah. Everything's balls. We're made up of little atoms, and there's balls, and we live in space, and there's space balls, and we play baseball, and we play catch with the ball, and kick the ball, put the ball in the basket, play golf, balls. We have balls. We got all kinds of balls. We worship the ball. We think balls are great. We fucking little solar systems inside our atoms and just swirling around neurons. Everything's balls. It's all balls. All balls to the wall. Atoms are balls. Quarks are balls. Planets are balls. Moons are balls. It's all balls. Come on, Sean Hawkins. That's your song right there. Sean Hawkins, dude, you walked right into my flat Earth trap that one day, so and you won't ever admit it either. That's why I'm always like, Sean Hawkins already proved to me that he's a flat earther. Because he did. That one day I was talking to you in the chat. Well, Sean, if I draw a circle on the ground, can you draw a smaller circle around the outside of it? And he said, no. I said, what if I draw a bigger circle? Then can you draw a smaller circle around the outside of it? I said, no. I said, does it matter how big of a circle I draw on the surface of the Earth? I mean, can you draw a smaller circle around the outside of it? And he said, no. And so you agreed with me through all the fucking questions. So the size is irrelevant. It's always going to be impossible to draw a smaller circle around the outside of another circle on the surface of the Earth. It's always going to be impossible. Obviously, you agreed with me all the way down the line until I said, "Well, welcome to flat Earth, buddy," because that's not, you're not even understanding what it is that you believe in if you think all those things that I said are true. Because that's what has to happen on a ball Earth. The circles can only get so big until you get to the median measurement, and then they're going to have to start shrinking somehow because you live on a ball. I don't know how that would look in real life because the ball was the caveat of no matter where you go on the ball, it feels like you're not on a ball. That's an interesting situation to try to pitch out on the world. That's a real good head fuck. That means an expanding perimeter would eventually have to start to shrink. And that goes against logic, intuitive logic. It's not, you can't make you can't make a logical argument that would happen. I say the more you expand, the bigger the perimeter all the way out. Because there's real places that are going to have real measurements around them. Empirical measurements that you can't argue. Repeatable, and every time you add more, it's just going to get to be a bigger perimeter. And there's no way that anything else will happen because the Earth presents itself as being planar. This thought exercise wins yours because it's like basically I'm trying to force the curve. I say it just gets wider. It doesn't ever start to close back up and then put you at the bottom of it. It's not like you're ever working with negative space. You're always going to be measuring around the property that's widening. The perimeter can only get bigger. To think that that's not what would happen is insane. And that's why you agreed with me all the way through my whole thought exercise until you realized that it was a flat earth thought exercise, and then you changed your answers. And I do that with every one of you guys, all you anti-flat earthers. You don't even know what it is that you believe. Because you gave all the flat earth answers, and then you kind of cop out after I pointed it out to you. So that just shows me that you don't even understand what it is that you believe. And basically everybody gives those answers. Nobody's ever answered those questions wrong because the answers are obvious. And so it's like, if it's that simple to just make everyone realize that they too are flat earthers. Once I say that, they have to change their answers and start referring to their ball. But it's like, you can't prove what I said is wrong by showing me your toy thing on the desk that spins. It's not proof that what I said is wrong. You can't refer to some imaginary thing, some toy that you have, and say, look, the circles do have to start getting smaller because of this. No, I say logic dictates that an expanding perimeter can only get bigger. That's what logic dictates. That's funny. Do no harm, take no shit. Well, I got one of them right. Yeah. It's hard to, you know, take no shit and like do no harm because there's gonna be people coming at you with some shit and like sometimes you're just gonna have to throw down. Like Sean Hawkins, if you call me that in real life, in person, I'll bitch slap you in the face, dude. Can't call me pathetic. No, I got a better sense of humor than that, but still. I mean, some of the things that you said, though, yeah, truly, like if you said that to my face, I'd probably want to walk away from you at least. I'd be like, you're mean, you know? Why are you so mean? Because it's not a conversation that calls for any kind of insulting language. We're talking about reality, you know? Like, it's a taboo subject in some circles because it seems like it's such a proven thing, but like it's not. If we can't verify the things that need to be verified in order to prove it, then it's not. And that became pretty evident. And, you know, that's why people that look into this usually become flat earthers. Because if you're just thinking with a clear mind, you know that you don't experience the earth as a spinning ball. You already know that intuitively. And then you also know that you can't draw a smaller circle around the outside of another circle intuitively on the ground. It just gets wider every time. Circles just get bigger, huh? Yep, because the earth is not a globe. Then they try to say, oh, well, you're saying that the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn don't exist? I'm just saying that you can't draw a smaller circle on whatever it means, whatever you got to take from that. I'm just saying one thing that's obvious. I'm sticking to my statement. I'm not saying things don't exist. I'm just saying that you can't do it. So if you can't do it, then just make of that as you will. The circles just get bigger. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm saying the latitude lines are bullshit. Because that's what the latitude lines are. They're concentric circles that widen up to the equator and then begin to shrink. But imagine having to mark those on the surface of the Earth. You would start at the North Pole and make a circle, and then you start making bigger circles all the way down to the equator. Now you're going to have to make smaller circles. But when you finish making your circle at the equator, you can see there's more Earth beyond the entire perimeter of your circle. There's more Earth beyond it. You've only encompassed half the world, half the available space. But now you're going to start making smaller circles? Get out of here, dude. I say when you add more, you have a bigger, you're never subtracting, you're always adding. So there's no way to get a smaller number. Sorry. That's what I say. I gotta go get a drink from my room. Yeah, I'll be right back. Please hang up. Some radishes and cucumber. Mmm, so good. This garlic's fucked up. Sorry. Wow. Damn. I was smoking a while ago, wasn't I? I just stepped on a burning cigarette butt. I don't know why my foot hurt. I dropped that cigarette a while ago. I think. I used to say the world is made out of electrons, protons, neutrons, and morons. You got one part right. That's funny, Albert Billy. Billy moron. More off than on, actually. Mm. Oh, that's right, we got grapefruit flavor. I drink bubbly water. I used to drink beer. I used to live in a pile of beer cans and bottles. That wasn't that bad. But I would go like recycle all my bottles and cans, and I'd make like 100 something bucks. I was like, damn, that's great. I filled my whole truck full of bottles and cans. Clap your hands, just clap your hands. Where is that? I got 2 flat tables and a microphone. I think the moon is a dead sun. Because the moon, it's like we have a reality that we all share, and the sun is pretty much like the epicenter of our reality. It's what our days are based on, and like it's why we have warmth, and it brings growth and life and sustenance, and it's very necessary. It's central to our experience here. Its purpose is quite obvious. It's the thing in the sky that floats, and it gives us what we need to live. All right, and so there's also this other thing up there that's about the same size as the sun. It's floating by too, but it's not really very obvious what its purpose is. I mean, we factor it into our calendar and shit, and we help keep track of time with it, but it's not really providing. You know what it's providing, actually? The moonlight is cold, the opposite of the sun. And the moonlight speeds up decay. It actually speeds up the decaying process. The cold light, yes, it makes things decay quicker. So the moon's light causes death, basically, or decay, and it's cold. You know, it does kind of seem like the moon's borrowing light from the sun. That's the term I would like to use. Because it's not always lit up, but when it is, when the sun's been shining on it, it glows, even after the sun is gone. It's still up there glowing, the moon. And it's like it borrowed some light from the sun, it got charged up. Maybe because it's made of the stuff that suns are made out of, and it sort of charges it up. It's like, it was like a sun when it spawns its last soul on Earth, it goes dark and just solidifies. So the surface of the sun would solidify, whatever the sun's made of, just like plasma substance of sorts, swirling, bubbling, hot plasma. So if it solidified, and went dark, it's the stuff that suns are made of. It's like plasma, the plasma moon, right? And so you could see the texture on the surface where all the bubbles were popping. It would leave craters, like how the moon is, and it would have an interesting surface. It would be mysterious. And and the thing is, the sun, basically, the sun's making a certain path through the sky every year, and the sun is a certain size. It's making the analemma, the figure eight. And here's the moon. The moon is the same size as the sun. It's also making the same shape in the sky. It's called the ephemeral. It's a figure eight. It's doing the same thing the sun's doing. But, it looks weathered and spent. It looks dead. It's beautiful, but mysterious. It looks weathered and spent. It looks dead. It looks like its original purpose might have been served already. It's just like a dead husk of what used to be. That's what my gut feeling tells me. It looks like a dead star, a Death Star. It looks like the Death Star, right? In Star Wars, it looks like the Death Star, the dead star, a dead sun. It does the opposite of what a living sun does. The living sun brings warmth and life and growth. The dead sun brings cold and decay. And I believe the suns are born from the earth. They have a certain amount of souls in them that spawn on the earth. Every soul that's spawned on earth is a spark of life. It's energy. It spawns. It's like it's a event that can be witnessed. It's like this light energy that spawns into your body, your physical body. To spawn. The soul is spawned from the sun. The soul, they call it the soul, S-O-L. Spawn your soul from the sun. That's why there's sunspots. It's where your soul used to be. There's this sunspot where your soul used to be before you were spawned into your physical body. Your life, your essence of life is energy. It would come from a source. The source would be the source of souls. So you live your life, and whatever happens to your energy, your soul, while you're here, when your physical body passes away and disperses into the environment, well, so does that energy that was your spark of life. It disperses into the environment too. And I think there's ways to do that where it's like we're working on something here. And our souls, I think our spark of life can shine pretty bright. It's like they say, you'll be a star someday. Stars are just smaller lights in the sky. They're up there beyond the sun. You see them at night, and they're smaller lights. They're smaller parts of the whole. They're smaller lights. The sun is a light, but the stars are smaller lights. Your soul is a light. Go to heaven, you be a star someday. So I think maybe that's what happens with souls if they've come here enough times. I think most souls are pulled back to source. That's what energy does. It gathers. The electromagnetic phenomena of life here. The consciousness, the God consciousness we're all taking part in. I think it does get pulled back to source, but I think in a lot of cases it might just go straight to heaven and become a star. I think there's a lot of stars up in the sky at night. I've seen some nights out in the Sierras when I was backpacking where I saw literally just trillion. There's no, like, countless amounts of stars, just so many. I think it could easily be a whole sun's worth of stars up there and some. I think if all the souls go to heaven, eventually that sun will spawn out. I mean, it'd be a long process, but if the life that's living on Earth at the time became that enlightened, they'd all be going to heaven. All the stars would be going to heaven, so the sun would start to shrink, or the life force inside of it would start to deplete. Because none of it was getting pulled back to source. It was all going to heaven. And so eventually that sun would go dark because all the souls would be spawned. There's a finite amount of souls in that sun. The sunspots eventually would just fill up the whole thing, because they were all going to heaven instead of being pulled back to source. And so when it goes dark, that's when a new sun needs to be born. A sun is born from the navel of the earth. A sun is born from the navel of the earth. It breaks off an umbilical cord just like we do. And it's shot up into the sky and it activates, It's like one of them glow sticks or whatever. You break it off and it fucking turns on. It starts its cycle. When a sun dies, it no longer has its life force. It's still up there doing its circuit, but it does start to sink out of the sky ever so slowly. And that's why the moon would be on a different cycle, because it's closer. It's a really slow process. Eventually it'll crash into the earth and just break apart. It's just plasma, hardened plasma. It might just melt before it gets down here. Who knows? But the sun is born from the navel of the earth. It's like the North Pole, maybe, there's like a whirlpool. So I think when a sun is born, the water breaks and a bunch of water floods into the earth. It's interesting, salt water, the level of salt water here on Earth has fluctuated drastically. But it's interesting, salt water, the ocean's salt water, bears a striking resemblance to amniotic fluid. The water that you're living in before you're born. And I think the water breaks, I think the water's broken a couple times. And there's buried cities. There's cities that are buried under the ocean, They're like way under the ocean. Like those cities were built there before that ocean was there. And I think this is interesting. Next time you see the moon, remember what I've said here, and I want you to find that moon's belly button where it first broke off its umbilical cord. Just remember, Bas told me to look for the belly button. I'm going to find it. Because you'll find it right away. It's pretty easy to see. You just have to know what you're looking for. I think every sun has a belly button because it was born from the navel of the earth. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I think we're on our second sun, at least that I can prove. There was a time when there was no moon in the sky, when that first sun was going around in the sky, because it wasn't a moon yet, you know. And so that's why there would be people whose ancient ancestors today remember a time when there was no moon. And the fact that a sun would go dark like that and cause an ice age or a dark age, you know, I think it would be brief, but it would be traumatic. And I think the people that were living here at the time, they probably were pretty brilliant people because all the souls were going to heaven. They were probably pretty brilliant, and they figured out they better get underground and dig, you know, and live underground because it's the only place you're going to stay warm. The sun would, you know, its warmth would start to fade, and you'd have to go underground to live, you know. And during that dark age, you'd have to be all set up. They had to, you know, they'd have to get prepared. And, you know, they would have had to have survived it if there was people still whose ancestors remember a time when there was no moon. I would think the stories would have had to have been passed on somehow. But as far as them not, you know, detailing the disappearance of the sun, I mean, there might be some history that talks about that, but they might not even have known that the sun ever disappeared completely because they were underground living, sustaining underground because it was so cold on the top, you know. They might have just survived the whole dark age underground. I don't know. There's underground dwellings that are dug all over the earth. Oh, there's plenty of evidence of that. And like, why would you live underground? Well, there would have to be something drastic going on. Absolutely drastic. And it's the only reason you would do that. But there's evidence of that all over the earth. There's evidence of a very brilliant civilization that was living here before, that were very enlightened, just to a level that we have no concept of. We just can see some of the evidence, you know. And it's obvious there was a worldwide flood, you know, not even that long ago. You know, because, I mean, the great flood of Noah's Ark, I mean, that's like thousands of years ago or something, isn't it? It's a while ago. I think there's a flood that was more recent, personally. I don't know. I mean, what's up with all the buried buildings everywhere? I haven't heard a viable story for that yet. They're everywhere. I found one in my town. And the history about that building is all faulty. It's a lie. I've already experienced that. It's like it's a 3-story brick building. One floor is buried under the street. You can see it by looking in the gutter drains. You can see that there's bricks that keep going. There's windows. I'm sorry, that's not how you make a foundation. It's the 3rd floor. The historical information about that building says it's a 2-story brick building. So it's a lie. Because it's not. I can see it's a 3-story brick building. So the history is a lie. Somebody made up a story for that one little building in my town. If it's that easy to find evidence of a conspiracy or of, like, you know, fake history, I mean, all I had to do was look in the gutter drain. You know, I didn't just go watch a YouTube video. No, I just went and looked and see if any of that evidence was in my town. And sure enough. The solar roller. You know, it was interesting during the jabs. You know, one day I was watching a video, and I've been my whole story that I was talking about, you know, with the sun and everything. It's like I've been writing this down for a while, and it's what I believe is going on. But like, and God's given me signs along the way. One day I was watching a video about the jabs causing like a worldwide reduction in the birth rate, went way down. Apparently still way down. But like I was watching, you know, it's kind of concerning, you know, because of the COVID jabs. I was watching lots of videos about that, and I'm like, oh, this birth rate has gone way down. And I was like, wow, that's concerning, you know. And then like I was busy writing in my book. I was writing what I was talking about earlier. You know, I was just writing down what I think is going on with the cosmos and shit. And then a video started playing because YouTube. I was just letting it play whatever was next, you know. And a video came on, and it wasn't a video that I chose. It was some scientist guy talking about the sun. And it was weird because I was in the middle of writing about the sun, and he was talking about the sunspots and how there's hardly any sunspots all of a sudden. It was like there's just been a drastic reduction in sunspots, and it's like weird. And he's going on and on about it. We haven't had this drastic reduction in sunspots for a long time. And he's just like, oh, it's really concerning and weird, you know. And I just watched a video that was like drastic reduction in birth rate, and I was writing in my book, the reason we see sunspots are because souls are spawning on Earth, and that's why there's sunspots. And then so it's like this video is like put together the thought that I was writing down on paper. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. It all played out like that. You know what I'm saying? When God gives you a sign like that, am I making sense? I just watched a video that I had chosen to watch. It was about the birth rate being reduced, and I hadn't put the connection together as far as like where I did kind of in the sense of like I thought the souls that are spawned from the sun leave sunspots where they used to be. And I was busy writing that in my book, and then I heard this video. The guy was like, "There's been a drastic reduction in sunspots." Right after the video, where there's a drastic reduction in birth rate, and I was busy writing about how I think the souls are where the sunspots used to be, and now there's a drastic reduction in sunspots because there's been a drastic reduction in birth rate. I'm like, whoa, it's all tying together perfectly, and I'm writing about it in my book. Can you dig what I'm saying? So it's kind of those are the kind of signs from God that I was getting, you know, while I've been writing my whole story. You know, it's like I was like, fuck, the cosmology that I've been handed is a crock of shit. I'm gonna come up with my own cosmology. I'm just gonna figure out what I think is going on. Look at the same mysteries that everybody else has been looking at, and try to come up with a story for what it all means, you know. And so that's what I've been busy doing, and I feel like I have more answers than I used to, for what it's worth. And I've had weird confirmation, like that one thing I was just explaining. There's other ones too, but like that was the one that really kind of threw me for a loop because I was busy writing about it, and I was like, well, both the videos I just watched totally tied my whole thing together. Fucking wild. It wasn't lost on me, I tell you that much. Yeah, my first son was born in '91, but I have a 10-year-old son. He's gonna turn 11 in October. But he's really like he's really smart, and he's like he knows the tech world pretty well. I'm sure he's gonna do well in the world, really, but the world is kind of fucked up, and I've been kind of putting it in his ear, you know, here and there, like shit might go down, dude. You know, but we're just gonna be better off than a lot of people because, you know, I'm watching the way that shit's been, you know, the shit that's been happening. You know, I mean, it's like the people that are in power are just like trying to fucking leech as much money as they can out of the system. You know, the failing system. It's like they're doing, you know, they're just doing it so, it's so brazen now. They're like so obviously trying to destabilize the place and just trying to, it's like rats fleeing sinking ship. They're trying to grab everything they can before it goes down, you know. It's like they're not even trying to hide it anymore, you know. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's just more, I don't think I'm just more aware. I think it's really becoming more obvious. Like with Trump and just the way the White House is being run. I mean, it's just like a fucking joke. It's like a comic book fucking, I don't know. It's just nothing about it that seems remotely real. I mean, he's just made a mockery of it, you know. And I can't imagine the people that still take it seriously are just like, what the hell? Are you not seeing the things I'm saying? I mean, like, some of the tweets he puts out, I'm like, dude, it's fucking such a joke, dude. It's never been that, like, it's never been on such full display that we've just lost the plot. You know, the American dream has just become an utter joke. It's like idiocracy. Trump is such a fucking, he's like the embodiment of that. Like, he represents the condition of the world. Like, dude, look what happens. I mean, these fucking pricks, you know, they're just so full of themselves, you know, and they just, you know, they're part of this club of people that think they just own the world, make decisions for everybody's lives. They act like they're all benevolent, but they're just like shady pieces of shit. Everybody knows it, you know. They keep playing this part, you know, where it's like, dude, nobody's convinced anymore, man. Nobody cares if somebody tried to assassinate you again. I mean, like, give me a break. Like, you know, the boy who cried wolf, you know, like, people stop caring, you know. It's like, nobody cares. People probably fucking hope that you get assassinated at this point. I don't think any of the assassination attempts are real. You know, yeah, I'm aware that somebody supposedly died at the one, at fucking. And if that's true, it's a crying shame. I really hope that isn't true. But that's just part of the story that's supposed to make it more believable, really, as far as I'm concerned. You can't trust them. You can't trust them at all. The same media that told you fucking three buildings were knocked down, by 2 planes, perfectly in their footprint. They'll lie so boldly to your face, and you still just gonna believe the things they say. No, you can't. That was a stunt, dude. It's fucking ridiculous, dude. There's a reason why that shit was so publicized. I mean, before he got shot, that was like a certain event that was getting a lot of attention. Of course it was, because he was about to put on this big fucking display. It did look kind of real when I first saw it, but then the way the whole thing played out, it wasn't like nobody tried. I love you, baby. Nobody tried to like figure out what the whole story was, and it was like this Black Rock actor. It was like in Black Rock commercials, and that was never discussed on the mainstream. It was like, come on, man, you're fucking with us again. That's all they do is fuck with us. Why would they? They don't tell true stories. If something true happens, they try to exploit it to whatever they. There's some like it's almost like you stop believing in that like natural occurrence. It's like they don't talk about it on the news if it's something real that happens. Anyways, I gotta wrap it up. Hey, Salad. Oh, you just showed up, huh? Maybe I'll keep babbling. I don't know. I'm just getting hungry. There's not that many good flat Earth shows anymore. But I think the people that started understanding the problems with the globe, I don't think there's many people that went back to the globe. And it's kind of silly how it's sort of like this juvenile, like, conversation where, oh, he went back to the globe, he's sellout. It's a weird reality to be like, using it as an opportunity to insult people. It's so weird. Like, you guys are all just weirdos in your mom's basement. And there's people out here putting cameras on rockets and shit. Like that one dude, Professor Phil Bell or whatever his name is. He claims he'll put a camera on a rocket and get pictures of the globe Earth while it was up there, deploying satellites or something. He makes some claims, but he has stuff to back up his claims, though. But still, it's just a dude on the internet. I'm still not convinced, bro. I'm pretty much convinced it's just a bunch of bullshit. I don't know. I'm thoroughly convinced, but it's weird when shit like that, because I've always said, like, why? How come we've been talking about this and it's like spreading, and why are there still no astronauts that'll come talk to us? The people that claim to have seen the globe. Just think about it. There's only so many people that have actually seen the globe, like with their own eyes. Because they say the ISS, even though they show videos of the globe, I also hear people saying, well, you wouldn't see the curvature from even the ISS elevation. I was like, well, what the fuck then? So the only people that have actually seen the ball in all its glory are like the 12 astronauts that went to the moon, and then these 4 clowns that just did the Artemis. So it's like less than 20 people out of the billions of people, or whatever, like, there's only that many people that have actually seen the ball Earth, and those people happen to have been sworn to secrecy before going out there to do their fucking seeing the ball trip. So it's like, that's not very good numbers, It's like, it's this thing that we'll never see then, basically, 20 people, that's not even 20 people have seen the ball, and yet everybody still believes it. I don't know, man. That doesn't seem like it has really what it takes to keep going. I think it's just going to fall apart, and people are going to stop believing it. Because people make these grandiose claims about, like, oh, in the South, it's all, these continents are here and there, and you go here and you end up there, and it's just like a ball, and there's no other way to explain it. And it's like, yeah, but you're talking about huge swaths of Earth, like thousands of miles of ocean. I mean, come on, man. It's like, you're not busy going and making all these measurements. It's just, you're just trusting a model, and nobody's really doing that. So it's like, it gets to the point where it's like, man, even if Antarctica is a fucking continent out there, like it's fucking supposed to be, it still doesn't prove anything. You know, it's just nobody fucking circumnavigates north to south or whatever. Nobody's come and navigate. It's like that never happens. All the satellites are going east to west, and it's because of the current the spin of the Earth or whatever, and all the flights and all the great circle routes are all east to west. I'm sorry, dude. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like it just starts to look like, well, the globe is just it's just a story. Like these cargo ships that were making trips, across the South Oceans, and they were using the globe maps. They were running out of gas, and it was turning into this problem because their ship wasn't being charted correctly. They were running out of gas, meaning it was further than they thought it was going to be. And it's a real problem when something like that happens. You have to send people out to bring them gas, and it's a liability. It's expensive. It costs them more money to do something like that because you have to send out a bunch of people to come. A bunch of people on the clock. It costs a buttload more money to go out and rescue the people that ran out of gas and get everything's late, and it's just this huge fucking problem. They had to solve that problem right quick. You can only have that kind of accident a couple times where you're like, fuck, it's costing so much fucking money. You have to you have to gas these things up correctly so they make it to where they're going. So what they did to fix the problem, they switched to planar maps. They still have a nice cute little ball on their screen, when they're going across the ocean. And it's all charted to look like they're on a ball, but but you go further into the fucking the route, it's all charted on a planar map now, and now they don't run out of gas because they know how far it really is, which wasn't the globe measurement, it was the planar measurement. So it's like little shit like that, but yet they still don't display it on the screen like that. you know, and whatever, it's just more and more proof that there's not a good enough argument to be made in favor of the globe, really. And just because you think you have a model that works, I don't think it works if you're running out of gas. All right, I'm gonna leave it at that. Love you guys. Ciao.